you'll see this assessment instrument is a very basic template with a cover page already completed for you and some basic observations. Now these observations are left blank for you to fill in, and what I'd like to go through with you is a simple way of filling these in to get you started. So on the right hand side here, we've opened up the unit of competency from training.gov.au. How do we get here? Well, we could simply Google, or we could go to training.gov and enter the code. Either way, we end up with the current version of the TAE-DEL 301 on training.gov, where we want to scroll down to the unit itself to access the performance criteria. Now on the left here, you'll see we've left each area blank with red instructions saying write your observation in here. Now what I've started to do is cut and paste the performance criteria into these areas. Now before I go willy-nilly and put every single performance criteria into every single observation, I have to ask myself, are these performance criteria something that I can observe, or are they something that I'd rather gather evidence through some sort of paperwork, like completed enrollment forms or completed hazard checklists, etc.? In this particular case, I've chosen that these can be observed. Whether that's right or not is up to the validation task we're doing later. But at this stage, I've simply cut from here and paste into the observation section of the assessment instrument. Now, once I go through and do all of these, I'll end up with, well, quite a number of observations. But that's not where we end. At that point in time, we have to go to each observation and reword it so it makes sense for someone undertaking this particular assessment, or more importantly, for the assessor who's observing them. So you'll see it starts with the candidate ... You should be able to read this as the candidate gathers information about their learners, characteristics, and potential learning needs. So you can go ahead and rewrite that, and that reads more sensibly to an assessor who's going to observe that particular task. Now again, whether this is right or wrong will be determined when we do the validation. At this point in time, you're just creating the instrument using these performance criteria, cutting and pasting them into the assessment instrument and rewording them so that they make sense to a reader, whether they be the assessor or the potential candidate. In our next video, we'll have a look at how we determine whether those observations that we've created are realistic, valid, can gather authentic evidence, are not ambiguous, so they are reliable, and they don't discriminate between potential candidates, therefore they are fair.